Hi, Henrik here, and welcome to a little screencast. And the subject is actually about project writing. I'm going to take a classical approach to project writing or a more entrepreneurial, and my preference is certainly entrepreneurial. But let's just have a quick look at the classical. Initially, start by identifying a problem area. What is it you're going to write about? Find a problem statement. What is the question you're going to address? Which delimitations are you making to this problem statement? Moving on, which tools are you going to use, or which theories are you going to use to write your project? Pros and cons, how they might supplement each other. Having done that, this is typically quite a lot. Then you make the analysis either only theoretical or you combine it with some empirical work or cases that you have collected. And following this step, get to some conclusions. You conclude on, of course, remember in the conclusions you always just conclude on the problem statement. You can elaborate on it and conclude on the delimitations and the theories that you've used. But otherwise, I would be careful that you don't go too far in the conclusions. If you want to make some extra, put an extra chapter in and write perspectives. So this is a classical approach. The more entrepreneurial approach is by starting saying, what is it, how's your value proposition? There are some steps that can be included prior to this. For example, what are the triggers that makes you interested in entrepreneurship, innovation? What motivates you about it? Why do you find it interesting? This could be an introduction leading to your value proposition. But if you want to make it hardcore, short, sweet, and to the point, you start with your value proposition and write about it. And then this is the progression. It's where I said, essentially, after following the course, you will be able to just look at your notes from each lecture or each time and each meeting, and then say which of these are the most interesting for my project, and put them aside. And at the end of the course, you quickly have a look through it and see which ones are the interesting aspects that I want to include in my project. And then theory application. So value proposition, the progression you've done with your value proposition, and then you could go in and say, which theories have you used? Have you used Dublin? Have you used Bono? How have you been working with your value proposition? So which different theoretical approaches have you used? Is it my illustration with competencies concerning knowledge and skills and attitude? And then move on and say which insights have you made, and how has this changed your approach to working with this type of project and working with entrepreneurship. Then you can finish off, instead of a conclusion, then you write a status and say, what is the status of this project at the moment? You're finishing down, you have to hand it in a few days, deadline's close. What is the status? So this is recapping the value proposition, the progression, theory application, which theories you've used, and of course then you can elaborate how you've used and pros and cons, the insights made, and then the status for the value proposition, status for yourself, personal status. And then making the status, what will be the next steps? What are the future options? And If I was just to elaborate a little on this, then from the very our first meeting, we had this project as one of the elements that you could include. As an overall approach, you might have started out here without anything and then was very divergent, or perhaps you had an idea when you started. So this could be, introducing yourself, your value, before getting to the value proposition, and then move into the projects. I see over here on the right hand side we have them incremental, radical. Incremental, radical also depends on the eyes that see it. What is the context? For some, the same issue would be radical. For others, it would be incremental. So, project would be one of the options. Pelle Rasmussen, this is what he wrote, and then I made this illustration that I've been working on, trying to see what is it I want to develop. Of course, I want to move you knowledge-wise, but I also wanted you to get some entrepreneurial skills and to adapt a little more entrepreneurial attitudes. So this could be included in your status. So you say, this has been one of my focus areas, so how have you developed on these 3 parameters? Innovation Diamond, I certainly feel that it's much more beneficial for you to work with your fellow people in your project group or the people in your class, and not just listen to my monologue from the whiteboard, because you can develop much more knowledge between you than just by listening to me. So Innovation Diamond was an option also. This is one of the reasons, this is actually the main reason why I think a classical project writing is not the best approach when you're working with entrepreneurial projects, because the knowledge that you acquire as you move through time, move through the course, hopefully is increased, so you'll be able to take the knowledge from the different areas that we cover and see how is this relevant to a specific project that you have chosen. So if we take this time perspective and say it's a course as such, and then we started out here with value shop, value chain, value network. We moved on to DASO, Innovation Diamond, we had Dublin, we had competencies, we had the different links that you could work on. So all these, you would say which ones are relevant for the value proposition that you have chosen, and how does it affect the value proposition? How does it clarify the value proposition that you're working with? And well, that is basically what I would like to say concerning this working with your project. So feel free, if you want to make the classical project, but also this is some of the suggestions for a classical project, but also feel free to take the entrepreneurial perspective. Enjoy it, and can also include something, as I wrote in include something extra. So bring some pictures or a model or anything that you say. This could be an interesting way to elaborate on the pages that you hand in. Hope it helps. Thank you. Bye.